Howdy folks, Bodine52, hope you are well. I can't tell you how happy I am to be riding my 2021 Road Glide Ultra today, because this past Sunday, Father's Day, my wife and I, on a way to a family event while getting gas, was backed into by a car while we were getting off the bike. Wait till you hear this one. If you follow my channel, you will know, probably through Instagram and a bunch of people talking, that this past weekend was a tough one for us, as we are trying to spend the Father's Day holiday, visit some family, and get prepared for a amazing trip to Tennessee with a couple other friends and their wives. And while my wife and I were out, we pulled into a gas station to get some gas, pulled in behind a car, and went to the back pump. And you know what? Let me just show you what happened. Watch this. Yeah, pretty scary, right? So I want to tell you the story about how I saw it, or we saw it at the time that it happened, what's happened since, maybe a safety tip out of it, and then walk you through the process of what we did to get back on the road so quickly, and maybe it'll help you in seeing what happened to us on Sunday. So, when we pulled in, or when I pulled in to get gas, I saw that car, and the two gas pumps, there was two gas pumps that you can pull up on the side of. Some gas stations have more than that, some have single pumps. But this one had two, and it was empty. So I noticed that the car was pulling in, and I wanted to pull in, or I did pull in right behind him. And, it wasn't that huge of a deal. We just pulled in close to the pump. I obviously saw him there, and I stopped to obviously get gas and let my wife, Mrs. Bodine, off the bike. And my procedure on her getting on or off the bike is that, I pulled in, I shut the motorcycle off, I leave it in gear, I stand up, and then that's kind of her key to get off the motorcycle. And you could see in the video that she was getting off the bike, and she was kind of looking towards the gas station. I was standing straight up and looking forward just to keep the bike stable to let her get off. So when this guy pulled forward, as she was getting off, I noticed his reverse lights came on, and hopefully the video shows the speed of what this happened. It was seconds. I'm telling you, seconds. So by the time I saw him starting to back up, it wasn't a crawl back up, it was a full reverse back up. I immediately braced. I already had my hand on the brake because Mrs. Bodine was getting off. I said, "Sit down." And by the time you could see, he almost hit us. She was just sitting down. And I grabbed for or went to push the horn. And I could not find it immediately because I was standing up and she was getting off the bike. So the first 2 seconds that he was backing up, I was searching for the horn. I finally found it and pressed it in, and that is what got him to slow down. By the time I hit the horn, he was 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet from me. And you can see he ran right into me. You can see the front. If you go back and see the front of the bike push down, we're extremely, extremely fortunate with what happened. Well, first of all, we are both okay. If you follow the channel again, Mrs. Bodine had hip surgery a while ago, so I was really concerned about her. And I actually missed a trip because my back was bothering me. So I was really concerned on how she was doing. A couple things I believe. I believe if I was in neutral and wasn't on the brake and saw it coming, that he would have pushed us and it would have knocked us over. Because he came at it hard. Now remember, I was kind of standing up and had the motorcycle, bars straight, and I was on the brake. That's number one. Two is, I believe if I did not beep the horn, I believe he would have ran over us. Now, smaller car, right? It's not going to ride over the top of us, but there is no doubt it would have knocked us off the bikes, and who knows if he would have rolled up on us or not. There is no doubt about it. So, you can kind of see me, I didn't even notice it until I watched the video back, waving my right arm. I was probably saying something that is not G-rated. And when the guy got out of the car, he said, "Are you okay?" So just to clarify, he was a 29-year-old guy. So he's not a kid, right? And, again, I gave him what I thought of what was happening. I said, "What in the are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. I was looking forward." Looking forward. Huh. You were looking forward? So at this point, I will tell you, I was more worried about her and me not popping this guy in front of her than to continue to carry on the conversation. And I call Progressive. And Progressive, now, by the way, I've always been a State Farm guy, and I've been a big insurance guy, those big companies. But I got Progressive because so many people swear by them. Their rates were lower, and they do a lot of motorcycles, right? So as soon as I started calling Progressive, I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to have a problem with these guys. I just know it, right? So sure enough, I get on the phone with the guy from Progressive. Very nice. How you doing? Where you at? What happened? Are you guys okay? Do you need an ambulance? Super nice, right? I said, and I did get with the kid or the guy that was doing it, and he was on his phone a lot. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He goes, well, I can't find my insurance card, so I'm trying to get my insurance number. He goes, but I have my, I have my registration. So I snapped a picture of that and said, let me see your driver's license. So I snap a picture of that. I give him mine. So I get his phone number, and he actually does give me his phone number, which was surprising. At the time, I'm like, all right, this kid doesn't have insurance, right? That didn't end up being the case, by the way. He did. He has Allstate, so that's a good thing. And so when I'm calling the guy from Progressive, he says to me, hey, a lot of those gas stations have cameras on them. And I look up, and there's a camera right above my head. I'm like, yeah, there's one right above my head and pointed right at my bike. He's like, good, we may need that. So while I'm waiting, I go inside and said, hey, is your camera working? She goes, absolutely. I'm like, okay, sweet. Thus, the video you saw came from the owner of the gas station. So going back to now what are next steps, the tow company comes out. Owner sends his kid out. His kid has this trailer, which I loaded my bike on, by the way, after we freed the tire up. And I said, so you got some tools, we got to get the fender off because you can't roll the bike. oh. Needless to say, he had to call somebody else. So we had to wait another half an hour for that guy to come. He comes with a crowbar. And by the way, while he's driving in, the second guy's driving in, some younger guy is trying to pull in the gas station on his motorcycle, and he drops his bike. And I'm like, holy crap. So a couple of people run over, help the guy up and get the bike up, and so I knew he was okay, and I'm dealing with my issues at this point, right? So the guy comes and pries up the fender, and he's like, okay. And he gets on. This guy was a shorter guy, and he's like, okay, I'm going to load it. So he rides around the gas station, and I noticed that his feet aren't touching. I'm like, dude, this guy drops my motorcycle loaded on this trailer. So he finally gets over closer to the trailer, and he stops, turns the bikes off, puts the kickstands down. He goes, yeah, I'm a little concerned about being able to get it on the trailer that it'll hit the pipes. He's like, but I think you need to drive it. I'm like, yeah, I think so too, right? So I get on the bike. Needless to say, I drive it right up on the trailer like it's nothing, right? And then his kid's trying to tie it down. I'm like, no, let me help you, right? So I wanted to make sure that the bike was tied down. Now, they were nice and got out there real quick for me, which I appreciated. And actually took both Mrs. Bodine and myself back to the house. So that was awesome. Fast forward. Now, this is Sunday night. Right now, it is Wednesday evening. And I'm on the bike, right? So fast forward, I get on the phone Monday morning, and I call Capital Harley Davidson. You guys will see me do videos on them. I'm going to link that in the description, and I'll leave that video at the end. These people are my go-to dealership. They are awesome. Shannon, the owner, has been extremely helpful to me, and I text Shannon that morning, an owner of a Harley Davidson dealership, giving you their personal cell phone number. That should tell you something, right? And I sent her I sent her a couple pictures. This is the situation. She says, hey, let me get with my service manager. I'll text you back here. It's 8. They don't open until 10. Of course, she sends a message back within the half hour. Hey, can you get the bike to me? Yeah. Let me work on it. I'll call you back. So I called the tow company. The tow company says, hey, yeah, hey, I did you a favor because it's the bike is still on the trailer, and I pulled it in my barn. I'm like, okay, he's got a barn. Because it was raining last night. And believe me, I woke up half the night going, great, my motorcycle's sitting at some tow yard outside right now, right? I said, cool. And he goes, hey, and by the way, I said, can you take it to the dealership, which is 60 miles away? He says, I sure can. He goes, hey, look, we got to figure out who's paying the bill, because last night's bill was like $1,200. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, it's like $1,200. It's going to be another $500 or $600 to take it to the dealership, which is 60 miles away. I'm like, oh my God. At this point, I'm like, all right. I said, are you kidding, dude? I'm like, I'll come get it in my trailer. And then I'm thinking, no, I don't want to play with this. It's not my insurance. I don't want to touch this deal, right? So he takes it to the dealership. She calls me at 10:30, says the bike's here. And then her response was, oh my God, what happened here, right? So Sunday, 3 o'clock, 3:30, this guy backs into me in reverse at full speed. 10:30 the next morning, the dealership has my bike in a rack. Of course, I'm calling Progressive, and Progressive's like, hey, it may take us a day or two to get out there. Meanwhile, I'm pressing to get on this motorcycle trip that I'm supposed to leave Friday morning. I'm like, look, I need the bike back by Friday. You guys got to figure out. I don't know what's wrong at this point. So they call me back. The dealer calls me back, service manager, Chris, and says, hey, it's the front fender and the tire. There is no other damage to the bike. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, dude, are you sure? He checked the forks, everything. He's like, nothing. I'm like, okay. And he says, hey, here's the deal though. It's 30 days to get a painted fender from Harley, at least. I said, okay. And he says, but I have a Street Glide fender that'll fit on that sitting on my desk. I'm like, really? He's like, yep. He goes, I'm going to throw it on, and I'm going to put a new tire on this thing because we don't want to take a chance. I said, agreed, right? So I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. So my insurance agent calls me yesterday, Tuesday, and says, hey, look, how's it going, Progressive? And they're being great, honestly. Progressive was awesome. And they say to me, hey, look, everything looks good. It's at the shop. They called the tow company to authorize them to move it, right? But they said, hey, we can't pay you, Progressive, because we can't get you a check in time. And Capital Harley Davidson says, don't worry, go ahead and send it here. We'll write a check for it. Who does that, number one, right? Number two is, who redoes this road without telling me? So fast forward, I get a call from Progressive on Tuesday. I'm at my office, and they said, hey, look, she should be out there in the next 24 to 48 hours to look at it. I'm like, what? I'm like, look, that's Thursday. They won't do it till Friday or Saturday. I'm going on this trip, right? And she says, hey, I'll see what I can do, but I'm not sure there's anything I can do. So I hang up the phone, and Steve calls me. He's like, I said, hey, Steve, you got everything you need? He's like, yep. He goes, definitely the forks and everything is fine. I said, okay, cool. I said, look, dude, I don't know what kind of do on this thing. And because, they say they can't come out there and look at the bike for a couple days. And he goes, oh, you're going on this trip. He goes, and as a matter of fact, your bike's about 2 hours from being done. We'll release it to you. We'll handle the insurance stuff. Don't worry about it. I got plenty of pictures. Holy crap. Who does that? So it's Wednesday. I picked up the bike today just after lunch. Of course, I pick it up, and it's beautiful weather out. By the time I get out, it's a torrential downpour. I did not care. I rode the bike home in the downpour with a flat black front fender, brand new tire, still rides like a dream, and there's nothing wrong. So I got to tell you what, we are very fortunate, one, that Mrs. Bodine was not hurt to the damage to the bike. The tow bill, by the way, $2,100. Now, everybody agrees that that's the most ridiculous thing they said, but I'm going to let the insurance companies handle that. The front fender, the tire, the labor is $1,100. So it's $3,200 to fix the bike, which is going to be done by this guy's insurance company, right? But all that waiting that I would have had it do, it's done. I'm riding the bike. I'm going on the trip, baby. So there's a couple things I wanted to close with. Number one, and I've talked to a couple people about this. Some people at a gas pump, whether it's you're single, you're riding single, or you got somebody on the back, put their bike in neutral, which is normal. Like I pulled in my garage, I put it in neutral. I park, I put it in neutral. I never do that at a gas pump. I think if I would have been in neutral, especially with Mrs. Bodine and letting her off, I would have caused some damage and potentially hurt her, right, and myself. I would definitely say she didn't get a lot of impact in this as much as I did, but I'm fine. So her being healthy and good is all I really cares. I care about. And number two, and I strongly urge you to do this, watch my video again. Do not, please, you all are friends, do not pull up to the second pump at any gas station. Go to the front one so people can see you. Please. I will never, ever do that. If I have to wait to get to that front pump, I'll do that. Because nobody's going to... They may pull in on you, but if your bike's sticking out and you're at that front pump or a single pump, you're safe. If you're at that second pump, there is risk, and you just saw what happened. So, folks, that is it for this. I mean, there's been so many people, it's been, quite frankly, overwhelming, that have sent me messages, called me. I'm sure when you saw the video, you probably said, oh my God. A couple folks that I showed that to before posting this said the same thing and said, oh my God, I can't believe you guys are okay. And things like this is what makes you grateful for everything going on. And I do have to say, it's kind of ironic. Over the last 6 months, I've done a video with Ty from Tennessee and his wife that were in a bad accident. And I just released a video maybe a month ago about would you ride again if you were in an accident. So while this wasn't an accident, we really could have got killed in this. And when I got home, I said to Mrs. Bodine, I gave her a hug. I said, are you okay? She says, yeah, I'm good. I don't feel any pain. I'm good to go. And I'm like, look, you want to cancel this trip? I would understand if you don't want to get back on the bike. And her answer was, are you kidding me? We're going. So, pretty cool for sure. We were super excited to be on the trip. I'm going to take some videos and try to share that with you folks, but really spend a lot of time with her and my two good buddies and their wives, and really just make it a nice relaxing time, because I sure could use it. So that is it for me. I know it's been a long video, but wanted to share the experience. Park at that front pump, please. Be safe on and off the motorcycle. Be vigilant. Check on a friend. They may need it. Bye-bye, folks. We'll catch you on the next one.